What's up, amigos? Commander Jaime here today, and we're gonna go over the Cardfight Con experience. It was a phenomenal weekend. It was a huge success, and honestly, this is something that we needed this whole pandemic year. So very appreciative. And so, really, what today's video is seeing my own experience as also as the viewers. I know a lot of people. This was the first time ever kind of event, and I want to take this video as kind of like a Cardfight Con review, but with my experience. So let's start diving into it. So a couple of cool things that I liked about the con itself being virtual is that you could honestly just watch it or listen to it anywhere from if you're driving or at home or you're at work or anything like that. It was just very flexible, you being in a virtual con rather than being in a physical one. In a physical one, you have to pay, you have to get hotel, you travel, all that kind of stuff. But in this kind of scenario, you can be anywhere you want and just plug in on your phone, on your computer, so which is nice flexibility in that case. So I appreciated that. I went through my laptop and my own phone, so it was very easy to navigate through the YouTube panels as they kept coming up. And then you can set reminders too, where it's like, hey, this one's coming up in 30 minutes, or this one's coming up in an hour, and that kind of thing. So just so that way you could just notify and you know when to plug in. That was really nice, actually. And so another thing that I like about it is because it's on YouTube, you can actually just go back to it. So if you were working or you missed out on a panel or part of a panel, you can go back to it and still watch it. And if you liked it so much, you can just rewatch it. And so some of them I've actually watched certain key parts that I really love, especially for this review. So let's start diving into some of the favorite ones that I liked a lot, and then just wrap it up with basically what went so well and also what can we improve on from now on. Starting off the day, we had WCC. They talked about a little bit of their origins. They talked about their playtesting methods. Sol and Vanguard was on there. WeRab and a lot of people from WCC were on there that honestly just show the whole startup of that team and how they approached it and how it even became like the channel where Kai Chung actually does the whole thing for the YouTube side of WCC. And so that was cool for me just to hear that side of the story. It makes me feel and realize that they're just players like us. And they got together and really wanted to do something with their team. Not only that, but making it as a brand as their YouTube channel. And for me, I know me and Zay had this conversation recently too. It's like, it would be really awesome if us could be, the next to join in WCC if they expand again. So we definitely would appreciate it just to be on their team, but not only be representing as card fighters that are competitive in the scene and everything, but also for me, I can provide some YouTube material just like Kai Chung, help out around, expand the brand, all that kind of thing. So it was just kind of cool just seeing WCC from that like behind the scenes, and I appreciate that. Right after that was Rep My Clan. That was the whole Aqua Force collaboration. You see a lot of YouTubers that were specific to Aqua Force. I myself was included in there, so I'm not being as biased as possible. But it was really cool just having like content creators that actually had like a main clan to go to, and there's not a lot of creators that have a specific main clan that they stick to. I mean, they can deviate a little bit here and there, but they have a main clan that they represent. They love to share on some YouTube channel or some blog or any kind of media platform. Just having the collaboration of all together was really cool. The interactions, how some people started in Aqua Force, some people had these struggles during G era, V era, or even like before then, Legion era and all that kind of stuff. A lot of more of the intricacies of the clan too, and honestly that could be more welcome with different clans, so people that can feel inspired to actually have their own like clan dedication for the next con. I definitely highly encourage it. I would love to see like a different clan. Like for me, what comes to mind is Spikes, like with Living Proof. So if I saw a clan dedication with Living Proof and some other people like Hearth from Crushing the Meta, I would watch that definitely. The way they talk about the clan and the intricacies of that, it could be really with any clan as possible. So with that, just seeing that love and passion for a clan, but also have that realness too, was really cool. And so moving forward, I like to see more of that, especially with people with different clans, just to get a bigger variety as well. Later on day one, we had the World Champions interviews. That was really cool. So we see a lot of these people that compete at such a high level, especially at Worlds, where they have these amazing decks or these amazing skills or some of these decks that you wouldn't expect, and they actually win the whole thing or top 3 or how are they just top. And it's just cool to see people like Jesus, Nuno, and even the Mega Colony World Champion just like gets a chance a little what they're like and everything. And for me, it was really cool seeing even somebody like Jesus and Nuno kind of going back and forth at the same time. That interview was really cool. I liked it, especially with Naru Samurai just like hosting that as well. And so it made me realize they're just more like hard fighters like us still. And even though they're play at such a high level in our eyes, they have their own locals. They have their own friends that really they just play tests and have fun. And that was really cool. And one of the biggest things that I love what Nunu said was that you learn more from your losses than your wins, you know? And so you learn from your losses and your mistakes the most. And that's something that even Jesus touched upon, where he was like, you got to realize, you see all the results, the glory, and all the wins, but behind all that was a lot of losses, a lot of frustration, a lot of grinding. And I appreciate the authenticity from both of those players and actually willing to share that as well. Because not everybody is really willing to share that and be vulnerable in a sense. And I appreciate that, amigos. Thanks again. Onto a fun one was the podcasters. We had Drive Check and we had Nexus and Knight. For me, I had like a friendship with Nexus and Knight with all three of them, Matt, Alvin, and of course Atlas. And it was just a blast seeing them actually be on the same like panel with Drive Check. And I've listened to Drive Check too as well, with those three as well. And it was just cool seeing them have this panel together, and it almost sounded like a podcast episode. So for those who listen to the podcast, it just felt like another episode, and it was really cool seeing how they talked about things. It was an agreement more than like a disagreement, where it's like, hey, we're the only two podcasts that are actually here after 4 years, and some of them have died and everything, but we're the ones that are really the main ones, but yet they're working together. That's really cool. And so seeing the con even bringing like the podcast media platform onto here was something just refreshing too, and seeing them in person as well, and some of the funny questions that they had. I had one for Nexus and Knight and even Drive Check, and when Drive Check said, it's like, hey, this person, Jaime Alvarez, had a question, and actually, isn't that a name from the character? Is this really a real person? And then Alice is like, actually, yes, that is legit his real name. Matt and Alvin at the same time agreed and everything. And then Atlas just went ahead and explained, yeah, he's actually been on our podcast for a bit. He's a great guy. He's a great friend and everything. We had fun. I was like, oh, okay, so he's a real guy. That makes sense. And then he's like, well, his question was, who is one of the most exciting guests that you guys had on your show and everything? And then Matt just started busting out laughing because he just kind of like answered the question as he was explaining who I was and everything. So little moments like that I appreciate too. And thanks again for the shout outs, amigos, too. So I want to see more of that collaboration with the podcast. I enjoy just listening to podcast episodes, even if I drive from work or even from like a long trip or anything like that. It's really easy just to plug in and listen to something as like a Nexus at Night and Drive Check. Going into day 2 is one of my favorite panels too, was Axis Vanguard, the website. So those people have seen the deck study guides that have come out for different classes, especially the Night Roast one that got a lot of popularity. These are really the people that I associate with in the Discord too, where they write articles of this kind of caliber, this quality, this passion. And you can see that there's different clans and everything. And so how seeing behind the scenes where you can read a blog and kind of get a sense of that reader and their style, but actually get to see their actual how they talk, how they look like, and even how they interact with each other and their process behind it. That is something really cool and not really seen as often, especially when people are doing just written content. Some people aren't really comfortable being on the camera, and then some of them were actually had the video camera on, and so you got to see like a name with a face with the writings, right? And so that was a really cool experience, and seeing the vision behind Axis Vanguard, where it's a platform for anybody that's passionate for a clan and that wants to actually write something to actually give back to the world in their own love for the clan and everything. So it's really there. Again, it was a blast seeing their panel too as well. Good to see you, amigos. And I'll wrap up with the last one. It's really 2 panels, but they're really cover the same thing. It's called Vanguards of Influence, day 1 and day 2. Really, really great tips for any point of YouTubers, from people that just want to start their own YouTube channel, some people that just got started, some people that are already veterans and are really doing the work, but they're not getting any traction, and some people that are getting traction and realizing, hey, these YouTubers are going through the same thing. Their tips are helping, and honestly, I can see where I can improve and things like that. And so, like, you know, practical tips, also like the mindset behind it too. So like an example of a practical tip would be like the time step, how you can use that since it's such like a segmented view, so people can skip to or refer back to in your videos. So you got some like mindsets such as like different fight, True Shappy and Steve's, like just talking about where, you know, when people talk about you, you're irrelevant in this, where you have success. But you got to realize that the critics will always talk about you no matter what. And so it doesn't matter if you get all this negativity, all these like dumb comments or hash resistance. just keep pushing, really keep grinding. And even Top Deck Heroes pointed out is that you may not even see any success in your eyes for the next like couple years. Some people have grinded in 2-3 years, some 5-6 years. It's really your own effort and commitment. And it's just more than just like the fame, the glory, the influence, and if you build income. Even Different Fight said it, this is not the platform you want to do or the niche you want to go into if you want income from this kind of thing. There's different channels that cover different topics that can provide better income through YouTube, but at the end of the day, with both channels, especially the one that I was on and even on the one with Different Fight, is they resonated into one thing: just create what you want, be authentic. And of course, that I loved. And the last thing that they dropped the nugget to, that said that people come for your content, but at the same time, they only stay for the people. And so that's why it makes that personality that important for you to really differentiate yourself as your own YouTube channel. Yes, you may have similar content as other YouTubers, but the important thing is being authentic, so people are there for you and your content at the same time. And just wrapping it up with overall the cool things that this con has brought. And a lot of the cool things is that it really had everything that you can think of. It had from like podcasters, YouTubers, people that sell and vend. You got meta game discussions, interviews with champions. Like it just everything you can think of all into one packed weekend. That was really cool. And seeing everybody just collaborating, especially if you've never seen their faces or you see them just usually doing their own thing, you have like that synergy that they were resonating and they were piggybacking off their comments and everything. It was just really cool seeing that interaction, where people have seen, like, I wish people can do a collab. And I know like Atlas and Nexus and I had mentioned that he wanted to see me and Wave Nation to do a collab, and that was really the Rep My Clan panel. And seeing other people too just be like in the same panel, in the same room, quote unquote, and see what they do, right? And that was exciting to me as well. And so not only that, I discovered some more creators that I actually was looking at YouTube channels, some blogs, some platforms that I wasn't aware of, and seeing some people present themselves too. At the end of day one was a good example where they presented, what is my channel about? What do I talk about? What am I passionate about? And that was really cool too. So even the different sizes of channels where people are just starting off or have a decent sized following, I learned that there was many more people that create Vanguard content. It's not just the big ones that we're all used to and everything. And not only that, it's just that it was really well needed during this pandemic time. We can't really go out, especially here in the US. We're still in early phases, depending on what state you're on. For me and the Chicagoland area, we're kind of in phase 0 again, phase 1. Things can be really held in person. They discourage that. So having this virtual experience is really nice, especially having that inclusivity, that connection to everybody around the world, and still having the love of the game. That was something that I loved about this con too. And just some from improvements for moving to the next con. We saw a little bit of like quality, some people will glitch out, or some of the panels were kind of hard to hear here and there. Those are some tiny improvements that I would suggest for the people that are involved in the next con. I'm not sure if I'm in it or no. Definitely love to be in it again. But seeing a better quality in those areas where there was just kind of like some bugs, that'd be definitely some room for improvement in there. Not saying that it was the worst or anything, but it's just like those little things like, oh, it's okay, it's the first con, things happen, people are doing this in their own houses, their own internet and everything, so it should work out for the next con, a much better quality. So that's definitely one area to improve from. Another area to improve on was that the community was asking questions like, how can you make this more interactive? Because this was the first con, we decided to make it pre-recorded, so nothing happened like that was like a mishap on the day of. It's a lot more challenging to have a live con on live, where a lot of people are streaming in from different parts of the world, different parts of the nation, versus a real con where everybody's physically there, and then it's just like a physical presence where you could just sit down and listen to people actually just talk about whatever topic that is. So it's just a whole different ball game. I think this was a good approach, especially being the first one, and I definitely can see this moving forward with at least a majority of the panels. If they want to have some kind of interaction, I think maybe something in between where people hop in the chat or something. It's like, hey, what are some questions? What are some things? People just want to engage if possible. Just like with any con, they want to ask questions, and that could be the place where it's like, hey, this panel happened, but I did have a question regarding about this topic you brought up. Things like that can be addressed to moving forward as well. So with that being said, that's actually my Cardfight Con review with my experience. I was a part of a collaborator and also a viewer. I was only a couple panels, so I saw the rest of the con too, as in your eyes as the viewers as well. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was exciting. I hope this was something that you guys really appreciated, I'll be honest, and actually want to see moving forward too. We'll see how the pandemic rolls out and how the future of cons happen in the future. There might be a hybrid, there might be an in-person, there might not be in person. So then we had to fall back again virtual. It just really depends on the state of the whole pandemic. But I think it was really well organized, really well done, executed, professional looking, and I liked the host actually dressing up with jackets, like suit jackets too, and actually guiding those conversations. That was really legit. And so with that, amigos, thanks again. If you liked the video, like down, comment down below, tell me about your thoughts. What did you feel about your own experience? I'd love to hear about that, especially letting Sean, the host, the original founder that created this event, your feedback is very important for him, so that way the next con is even better. So share and subscribe. See ya, amigos. Bye.